You're scrolling right now, maybe on a couch, maybe in bed. A little bored, a little restless, thumb moving faster than your brain. You tell yourself you're relaxing, but the real answer to what fun actually is might be far stranger than anything on your screen. 500 years ago, there was no screen. There was no scroll. There was no algorithm deciding what you'd laugh at next. And yet, people still needed to laugh. They still needed to play. They still needed a release from the grinding sameness of daily survival. So what did they do? Start with a village in early 16th century England. No electricity, no indoor plumbing. Most people worked from sunrise to sunset, 6 days a week, just to keep food on the table. Life was hard, short, and physically brutal. But Sunday came, and on Sunday, something changed. The historian Emma Griffin has spent years studying English leisure across centuries, and her research reveals something the modern mind struggles to accept. Pre-industrial fun wasn't quiet. It wasn't passive. It wasn't something you watched. It was something you did, usually with your whole body, usually with half the village, and usually with a real risk of injury. Take football, not the sport you know today. This was mob football, sometimes called camp ball, and it looked nothing like a stadium match. 2 entire villages would face off, sometimes hundreds of men on each side. The ball was often an inflated pig's bladder. The field was the space between 2 towns, sometimes miles apart. There were no fixed rules. Kicking, punching, tackling, dragging, all fair game. Games could last an entire day. Bones broke. Occasionally, someone died. Why would anyone want this? Because for 6 days a week, these same men had no power over anything. No control over their wages, their harvest, their landlord, their fate. For one afternoon, on one field, they had a ball, a rival village, and total physical freedom. Fun, it turns out, wasn't an escape from struggle. It was a controlled explosion of the struggle itself. The cultural historian Peter Burke, in his landmark study of early modern European life, described this pattern again and again across the continent. From Italian carnival brawls to German wrestling festivals to French village dances that ran until dawn, ordinary people built entire calendars around days when the normal rules of society simply stopped applying. There's a name for this pattern. Anthropologists call it ritual inversion. For one day the servant could mock the master, the fool could be crowned king. Chaos wasn't punished, it was scheduled. Doesn't that sound almost designed? Like a pressure valve built directly into the culture? Now step inside a home on a winter evening. No football today. Too cold, too dark, too much work left to do by candlelight. So what happens after supper? Storytelling. Real, structured, performative storytelling. Long before television, families and neighbors gathered around a single fire and passed stories back and forth like currency. Ghost stories, local legends, riddles that could take an hour to solve. Someone always played the fool role, deliberately getting an answer wrong to make the room laugh. This wasn't idle chatter, it was entertainment infrastructure. A single skilled storyteller in a village held real social status, not unlike a popular creator today, except their platform was a wooden bench and their algorithm was memory. Games mattered too. Dice, cards, once they spread through Europe in the late 1400s. Backgammon-style board games carved directly into stone tabletops, some of which archaeologists have found still etched into castle windowsills, worn smooth by centuries of restless hands. People gambled. People cheated. People argued about the rules exactly the way you argue with a friend over a video game today. Because here's the twist almost nobody expects. The specific games changed completely. The instinct behind them didn't change at all. The philosopher and historian Johan Huizinga, in his influential study of human play, argued that play isn't something civilization added on top of survival. Play came first. Culture, law, even religion, he argued, grew out of humanity's deep need to create structured games with rules, stakes, and a shared sense of this matters, even though we all know it's pretend. Read that again. The rules matter, even though everyone knows it's pretend. Sound familiar? It should. That's the exact emotional contract you make every time you open a game on your phone. Now picture something louder, a market fair. Once or twice a year, the single biggest event on the village calendar. Traveling performers arrived from far outside the community. Jugglers, musicians, animal handlers with a dancing bear or a trained monkey. Sometimes a man who claimed, almost certainly falsely, to have traveled from the edge of the known world. People paid to be amazed. People paid to be tricked. People paid, essentially, for content. Delivered live, unrepeatable, gone by morning. There was no replay button. If you missed the fair, you missed it for a whole year. That scarcity made every single performance feel enormous. Think about that for a second. Imagine if your favorite show only aired once, ever, in person, and if you weren't there, you simply never saw it. Would you value it more, or would the not knowing make it feel almost mythical? There's a darker layer here too, and honesty requires including it. Some 500-year-old entertainment was cruel by modern standards. Bear baiting, cockfighting, public punishments turned into spectator events, crowds gathering to watch someone in the stocks, throwing rotten food, treating suffering as a show. Historians studying early modern leisure don't shy away from this. Cruelty and comedy often sat in the very same afternoon, sometimes the very same crowd. Why does that matter now? Because it reveals something uncomfortable about fun itself. Entertainment has never been purely innocent. It has always reflected exactly what a society is willing to watch, laugh at, and look away from. What does that say about the shows you binge? The clips you can't stop watching, even the ones that make you slightly uneasy? Maybe the format changes every century. The urge underneath it doesn't. Now bring it all together. 500 years of people needing three things society still hasn't found a substitute for: physical release, shared story, and rare, unrepeatable spectacle. Mob football gave the body an outlet. Storytelling gave the mind a shared world. The traveling fair gave everyone something scarce enough to feel sacred. Compare that to tonight. You get physical release from a gym app, alone, with headphones in. You get shared story from a show everyone streams separately, at separate times, in separate rooms. You get spectacle constantly, endlessly, so much of it that almost none of it feels rare anymore. The three ingredients haven't disappeared. They've just been unbundled, mass-produced, and delivered straight to your hand, one scroll at a time. So tonight, when you pick up your phone again, notice what you're actually chasing. It probably isn't the video itself. It's the same three things a farmer wanted after a brutal week 5 centuries ago: to move, to belong to a story, and to feel, just for a moment, that something rare is happening. You're not scrolling because you're bored. You're scrolling because 500 years of human instinct never actually left the room.